For you to love, to depend on what you value more in your heart. In Luke 7, from verse 37, Jesus met an harlot there. Do you know what the harlot did? That which she valued more, she had to go and drop it in Jesus' feet. That's the only way you can really love. That thing you have valued too much, you have to drop it. And behold, a woman in the city who was a sinner, when she knew that Jesus sat at the table in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of fragrant oil and stood at his feet behind him, weeping. And she began to wash his feet with her tears and wiped them with the hair of her head. And she kissed his feet and anointed them with the fragrant oil. Now when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he spoke to himself, saying, this man, if he were a prophet, would know who and what manner of woman this is who is touching him, for she's a sinner. So the first thing the woman did, that which she value more. If you can't trace what you value more, you can't love God. That's the truth. Jesus said, therefore I say to you, her sin which are many are forgiven, for she loved much. Because what she valued more before, when she was in the world, she dropped it at his feet. Jesus called it love, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same love little. So the first way God begin to consecrate your heart to have true and unconditional love is that thing you value more, you drop it at his feet. In the book of John 12, the story of the woman continues from verse 3. There was something Jesus was trying to do here. Mary took a pound of very costly oil of spikenard, anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the oil. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, see what he value more. Yeah, God is trying to open our eyes to why we don't love. Because there's something we already placed there that we value more than people, value more than human beings. But one of the disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, who would betray him, said, why was this fragrance of oil not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor? This is said not that he cared for the poor, because he was a thief and had the money box, and he used to take what was put in it. So you can see what people value here. The man valued money more than his neighbor. The woman dropped that which she valued at the feet of Jesus. You can't have unconditional love until that thing you have worshipped, valued, you can drop it at Jesus' feet. And one of the things we have valued so much is money. That's what it shows us there. We value money more than human being. Take, oh, this thing, this money, come. Do you know this guy can be scared to tear this, but he can tear this one's slap, because that is what he value more. So if you tell this guy, tear the dollar, no, tear dollar, okay, tear this one's slap. That's to show you that he places value on dollar more than human being. When I see what you do to your neighbor, I will know what you value. Tell anybody, if I see what you do to me, I will know what you value. Yes. I can't tear dollar. Me, I tear dollar. Can you match dollar on the ground? No. Can you have a bundle of dollar now, flush it in the toilet? But somebody can flush a whole child from the womb. Like I said, God is not condemning us. He's pruning us. Listen, let me teach you who a teacher is. Don't think a teacher is somebody that is coming to point you to your mistake. Jesus said, I have not come to judge the world, but to save. So anytime God wants to teach about love, this is what he does to me as a prophet. He converts me to become love. That's the meaning of I am love. It converts you, the teacher, to become what you want to talk about. Because in the spiritual realm, you can't explain what you are not. You can't really communicate what you are not. So you have to become it. When we are preparing for message, while we are praying, God make you to become the message. So it's not me that is speaking now. This is God speaking. So even me need the message. So we place value. Yeah. This is what Judas did now. We can see who he placed value on. He placed value on this more than Jesus, because he was a thief. Now, do you know what Jesus did? This was the time Judas would have repented. In the book of John 13 from verse 1, the Bible said Jesus wanting to depart now. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come, that he should depart from this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to what? He loved them to the end. When Jesus had said these things, after washing their feet, he was troubled in his spirit and testified and said, most assuredly, I say to you, one of you will betray me. Then the disciples looked at one another, perplexed about who he spoke. Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples whom Jesus loved. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask who it was of who he spoke. Then leaning back on Jesus' breast, he said to him, Lord, who is it? Jesus answered, it is he to whom I shall give a piece of bread when I have dipped it. And having dipped the bread, he gave gave it to Judas Iscariot, son of Simon. Now, after the piece of bread, Satan entered him. Remember, it was in chapter 12 he made that statement that why was this fragrance wasted? Jesus was expecting him to drop that money. Just as the woman dropped all she had, a prostitute dropped her most valuable thing on the feet of Jesus, and an apostle still hold on to money in his heart, still valued money. So in this verse 13, the chance he had, time has passed. So then Jesus said to him, what you want to do quickly. But no one at the table knew for what reason he said this to him. For some thought because Judas asked the money box that Jesus had said to him, buy those things we need for the feast, or that should give something to the poor. So the church today have many Judas. Believers, there are some people that value money. When you want to touch them, money. A believer can be a thief. People can come to church and lose phone. In those days, the church was not like that. Something is wrong. We should open our eyes. Something is wrong. When you come to church, you hear somebody's phone was stolen. Somebody's wallet was stolen. We can't see people think and return it again. It's to show us that the church has been corrupt. Something is going on. Love is dying. Inside the church, the Judas generation will still be there. So God is saying we should be converted. So he allowed Judas to leave first. When Judas have left in verse 34. Because you can't tell somebody that I value something else to love. No. Then when Judas have left, then he spoke to his real disciples. He said, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. He allowed the bad egg to go first. Because if there's something you value more than human being, you can never have unconditional love. If there's something still in your heart that you cannot drop at his feet, that means you can't have unconditional love. It's either you are serving God or mammon. Then he said, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. Another thing that attack our love for one another is the love of money. The love of what? 1 Timothy 6 from verse 6. He said, now godliness. Godliness means godly character. With contentment is great gain. That means satisfaction with what God has given to you. All the other disciples were satisfied. Judas was never satisfied. Always greedy for money. Peter had family. Many of the disciples had family. So Jesus was giving them allowance to take care of their family. But Judas needed more. What is the cause of hate? Greed, discontentment. And discontentment produces ungratefulness. Produce greed, envy, jealousy. That's what discontentment brings. Discontentment is the root of all wickedness. For we brought nothing into the world, and it is certain we are carrying nothing out. And having food and clothing, with this we shall be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and harmful lusts, which draw men into destruction and perdition. For the love of money is a root of all kind of evil. It's not the love of money, it's discontentment first. God told me something. He said, always make the truth known. Then people should choose to accept it or not. He said, but your assignment is to make sure the truth is known. He said, you shall know the truth. So everybody need to know the truth. Nobody will say, I wasn't taught the truth. Make the truth known. Then it's your choice. You decide to listen. You decide to follow. You decide not to follow. Even me as a preacher, I can decide to follow the truth and I can decide not to. But the truth must be known by all. This is the antiquity of the faith. You know, in our tribe, Igbo, you want to learn craft or business. Sometimes if you go to your master. When you get to your master can either teach you only the craft and teach you character. The truth, there's two things. When you go to a master's house to serve, there's the craft, there's character. There's what? There's what? Very good. Now, if you decide to say when you get to your master's house, the only thing you want to learn is the craft, you will lack character. So most people, you always hear people say, my mentor, my master, my father. Meaning, you didn't only get school fees from your father, he taught you character. You didn't only get money from your master, he taught you character. So in this faith, there's the miracle of God and there's the antiquity of the faith, the life, the way the faith life is. That's what I'm showing you here. Say, for the love of money is the root of all kind of evil. For we some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Oh, you man of God, flee these things. Flee them. You can't love money and love human being. You can't love money and love God. Only one love can be there. The number 3 things that affect your love is the love of the world. Love of the world. Worldly love. You love the world. I said the sun is giving light to the world. It doesn't mean the sun loves the world. He's just there. He's just doing his job. So we're sent into this world to be light of the world, not to love the world. 1 John 2 from verse 15. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. You can't love the world and love the Father. That's what it shows us here. Yeah, love cannot be divided. You can't say you love God and love the world. He said, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. There's no two way about it. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world is passing away, and the lust of it. But he who does the will of God abide forever. Tell anyone, love not the world and the things of the world. Yeah, you can't love God. I love God, I love God, I love God. You are loving the world and the things of the world. 1 John 3 from verse 10. He says, in this, the children of God and the children of devil are manifested. This is how you separate it. Whoever does not practice righteousness is not of God, nor is he who does not love. So two things you used to know, not by saying I'm a Christian or going to church. He said you have to practice righteousness. Don't be confused whether you are of God or you are the devil. He said this is the best way to know. Whoever is not practicing righteousness is not of God. And whoever does not love his brother is not of God. For this is the message that is heard from the beginning, that we should love one another, not as Cain, who was of the wicked one and murdered his brother. And Jesus said, whosoever hates is a murderer. And why did he murder him? Because his works were evil and his brothers righteous. Do not marvel, my brethren, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love the brethren. He who does not love his brother abides in death. Whoever hates his brother is a murderer. And you know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him. By this we know love, because he laid down his life for us. And we also ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. But whoever has this world's goods and sees his brother in need and shut up his heart from him, how does the love of God abide in him? My little children, let us not love in word or in tongue, but in deed and in truth. May God wash our hearts with his love. It's a prayer point. Father, let my heart overflow with your love. Psalm 58 from verse 1 spoke about the kind of heart. Do you indeed speak righteousness? You silent ones. Do you judge uprightly? You sons of men. No, in heart you work wickedness. You weigh out the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf cobra that stops his ear, which will not heed the voice of the charmer, charming ever so skillfully. I told you there's a serpent version of you. That's why Jesus said, be wise as serpents. But that serpent have to be charmed by God, by the antiquity of the faith. The characteristic of the faith is what the charmer used to charm the serpent. You know when you go to a serpent show and the serpent is doing the person, you see the magician doing the serpent like this, the serpent follow. He is charming the serpent not to be harmful to people. In man, there's wickedness. The only way you come out of wickedness is for God to charm you with his love. That's the word God used to charm us. Not that there's no wickedness in you, but love has covered everything. You always say somebody is sending you a message on Instagram, Facebook. Say it's me. It's not me. Anybody that's asked you to give online, I'm not aware. So don't listen to anybody that said they have a charity. They are Prophet David Uche. They have been using every man of God to do the same thing. So it's not me. We don't communicate on Messenger. We don't communicate on Facebook. The only number we have is the one you saw on our platform. If you go to the platform, you see our phone number there, and all the videos have the phone number there. That's the only number we communicate. So whoever is communicating to you, and with Nigerian number, I'm not in Nigeria. I am from Nigeria, I'm not in Nigeria. As you can see, I'm in a beautiful nation called South Africa. So, please, wherever you are hearing the sound of my voice, don't give carelessly. God give us understanding. In Jesus' name.